In Canada, a mass stabbing has taken the country by shock. 10 people have been killed, 15 injured in this spate of stabbings. The police have now launched a manhunt for the 2 men suspected of carrying out the stabbing incidents. It all began in the James Smith Cree Nation community. This is an indigenous community near the Canadian province of Saskatchewan. At 5:40 a.m. local time, the police received the first call about a stabbing, and more calls started coming in within minutes after the first one. The victims were found in 13 locations in this community and a nearby village. At around 7 a.m. local time, the police issued a dangerous persons alert. The public had been asked to take immediate shelter wherever they could. Soon, the alert was extended to the entire province. Residents in the provinces of Manitoba and Alberta have also received alerts. At around 12:07 local time, the suspect's vehicle was spotted in Regina, the capital of the province.
At this point in time, we have no indication that they've traveled to another province. But given the fact that they are in a vehicle, we can't say with 100% certainty where they are right now. And we believe it's prudent to notify the residents of those provinces that there is a possibility they could have traveled to those locations and making them aware of this current situation that we're dealing with.
The 2 suspects have been named as Damien Sanderson and Miles Sanderson. The officials have not said whether the 2 are related. They are now on the run and are considered to be dangerous. The attackers appear to have gone door to door, attacking the locals. Weldon resident Doreen Lees says a man knocked on her door, requested for urgent help, and after that the alert was issued, but she chose to not help him.
This guy come walking up here, and he had, it looked like his coat over his face, and he said, "I need somebody to take me to the hospital. My mouth has been hurt." He said, I've been stabbed, my mouth has been hurt. And I said, "Well, let's see." And he says, "No, it's real bad, I can't show you." I said, "What is your name?" And he said, apparently said it, but I couldn't tell what his name was by what he said.
The police have refused to speculate on the reason behind the attack, but many believe it could be drug-related. Officials say some of the victims appear to have been targeted, but others appear to have been attacked at random. The Canadian Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, has described the attacks as horrific and heartbreaking. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police in all 3 provinces are jointly investigating the stabbings. 2 emergency centres have also been put up. This is to provide health support to all the impacted communities. This is one of the deadliest mass killings in Canadian history. Attacks of such nature are very rare in Canada. The last one was in 2020. This was when a man disguised as a police officer killed 22 people in Nova Scotia. This was the deadliest gun rampage in the country's history. But deadly mass stabbings like this one are even more rare. And with us on the broadcast this minute is Dr. Laurie Turnbull, joining us from Ottawa in Canada. She is the director of the School of Public Administration at Canada's Dalhousie University. Thanks very much for being here on the broadcast. If I can start by asking you to just piece together for us what we know so far, what the authorities are saying at this point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, we know where this happened. We have an idea of the number of people, but otherwise we don't know a whole lot. They're not saying very much about what the motivation would have been. And at this point, and as far as I know, the suspects are still at large. And so it's definitely an emergency situation. People are in shock. And as you say, this is an extremely rare situation, definitely anywhere, but certainly in Canada. And so I think people are just focusing on hopefully, getting the suspects in custody, drawing things to a close. But there are more questions than answers at this point.
Sure. At this point, if you can also tell us the extent to which these alerts have been issued, because we understand the suspects are on the run and those alerts had been extended.
Yeah, so Saskatchewan is a prairie province in Canada, and so in the neighboring provinces of Alberta and Manitoba, there are warnings through those provinces as well, because it would be a long drive. The provinces cover a lot of land, but if you're in a car and there's no checkpoints at provincial borders, so you would be able to cross over if you've got the time and the gas to do it. And so I think it's an indication sort of the geography of the country. This is a lot of land, a lot of it not populated very heavily. And the community that this happened in is an Indigenous community in Canada. It's a very small community. And so there's a sense of that kind of reaction as well, right? Like, this is an absolutely horrific thing to happen anywhere, but in such a quiet community, no one is going to feel safe. And there's going to be a sense in the neighboring provinces as well that you don't know where these people are until they're going to be captured.
Right, and what makes this even more shocking is that deadly mass stabbings or attacks like this kind are extremely rare in the country.
Oh, yeah. I mean, you hear sometimes in some of the bigger cities like Toronto in Ontario, or like Montreal, or like Vancouver, where the population is higher, and you hear more about some instances of violent crime. But even that, nobody really gets used to that. You don't hear about it a whole lot. And the idea of there being a mass stabbing or a mass shooting in a small community is just not what Canadians are used to hearing at all. But as you mentioned in your opener, we had the largest mass attack, the largest mass shooting in Canadian history happened only 2.5 years ago on the other side of the country, in the province that my university is in. There was a mass shooting where one person killed 22 people over the course of about 12 hours. Now, there's actually an inquiry going on right now into that mass killing. And some of the issues that are coming up are things like, how did the RCMP respond? Did they do the right thing with respect to letting people know all the information that they needed to know? Why didn't they put out warnings earlier? They seem to be relying on things like Twitter and social media to be getting warnings out that there was a killer on the loose. And so, there's going to be I think it's fair to say, I'm not an expert in psychology, but I think there's going to be a compound trauma effect of the country absorbing an inquiry into one mass killing as we learn about the realities of another mass killing, and also kind of comparing the sense of our readiness for this and what the RCMP response was in one case versus the other.
Dr. Turnbull, we're leaving it there for the moment. As you said right at the outset, a lot of questions at this point that need to be answered. We're leaving it there, though. Thanks very much for joining us on the broadcast and helping us better piece together what we know so far and sharing those inputs.
Thank you, too. Take care.
WION now available in your country. Download the app now. Get all the news on the move.